Welcome to the first part of session 6, where we're going to be exploring mindfulness in the context of communication and leadership. And the aim of this session is to extend mindfulness and our application of it beyond us as individuals to our relationships and interactions with other people. So we're going to be applying mindfulness to how we relate, converse, and help others. So let's begin, as usual, with what is mindfulness? Just a reminder, this is the definition we are using throughout this course, that mindfulness is paying attention on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. And from this definition, we have teased out 3 key concepts. The idea that we're deliberately paying attention, the idea of being in the present moment, and the idea that we're going to be non-judgmental. So let's move on and explore this in the context of relationships. So mindful relationships could be summed up as how to talk, listen, connect, and to lead in a mindful way. Now, mindfulness is often seen as a solo practice with individual benefits, and that's very much what we've experienced in the course to date. But mindfulness also extends to our relationships, because at the end of the day, relationships are built on communication, and the quality of that communication will be affected by our mindfulness or lack of it. So we're going to explore how to talk, listen, relate, connect, and lead mindfully in today's session. Now, this is often quite easy with people we're friends with people we've perhaps known for some time, etc. But what about when it's more challenging? And that's in fact where we're going to begin, with the conversations that we don't find very easy. So difficult conversations, they can feel strained. We can try and avoid them sometimes. They can be very stressful or conflicted. And the causes of a difficulty, the topic of what we bring to a conversation, can be challenging for us. So examples of difficult conversations and what can affect them adversely is not giving authentic answers. We may well try and hide our true feelings or opinions, and some participants in such situations may feel as if they're simply not being heard. So staying mindful and present during difficult conversations helps us develop resilience, so we're not quite as stressed out by them. It can enhance our connections simply by being present for people more. And it can expand our capacity to feel uncomfortable when talking about certain subjects or when talking with certain people. So reflect on a difficult conversation. Recall the topic, the feelings, the setting, and articulate to yourself what made it difficult. So let's move on and explore how we might actually manage this in a more effective way with mindfulness. In order for us to understand and manage difficult conversations more effectively, we're going to be borrowing some ideas from a book called Difficult Conversations: How to Discuss What Matters Most, by the author Douglas Stone. Now, what Douglas suggests is that there are 3 levels of difficult conversations. The content level, and that's what happened, what was said, and so on. The feelings level, what emotions arose during the conversation, and the identity level. What does this conversation say about who I am? And the identity level is powerful and affects our self-perception. For instance, does the conversation make us feel seen? Does it make us feel understood? Maybe it makes us feel good or kind. Maybe it feels as if we're being fair with this person, and so on. What I'd like you to do is pause for a moment and reflect on your own difficult conversations and see if you can identify how these three levels came into play. And consider if they felt like different parts of the same conversation, or whether they all blended and jumbled into one. So you may want to pause the video for a few moments and just consider these before we move on to exploring difficult conversations further and explore how we might actually prepare for them. So, if we know that a difficult conversation is coming up, there are certain things we can do in order to prepare for them. And again, from Douglas's book, Difficult Conversations, How to Discuss What Matters Most, he suggests a 5-step approach. And the first step is to explore the 3 levels of conversation we just mentioned: the content, the feeling, and the identity. And you can apply this to past conversations if you wish to understand them more fully. But this is really about preparing for future ones. So name the content, the feelings, and the identity levels from your perspective, and then try and name the content, feelings, and identity levels from the perspective of the other person or persons involved. And see if you can identify what is truly at stake in holding this conversation in the first place. The second step is to check your intentions and decide whether to hold the conversation. Once the issue feels clear and more than one perspective is understood, what is your intention for holding the conversation? Now, here are some possible intentions that you might have. It could simply be to solve a joint problem that you have. It could be to help ourselves or to help other people. Perhaps we're doing it to clear up a misunderstanding. Or maybe we're simply trying to prove who is right or make someone else feel guilty. Then, having done that, if you decide to go ahead, start from the objective of the third persons. The third party story is how a neutral party would see this situation, considering the points of view of both sides involved. Now, starting a difficult conversation with this third party story can make all parties feel less defensive and can help you to find a common ground. The next step is, within the context of the difficult conversation, is to listen with empathy. Encourage sharing and listening on both sides, and the idea and introduce the third party story at the same time, and explore points of difference and points of agreement. And what you can do is reframe blame or accusation to responsibility for each person's contribution, their emotions, the stakes involved, and their identities. And the fifth stage is to problem solve. A solution for the moment might be to keep the communication open and continue the dialogue with empathy. And what you're aiming to do is strive for solutions that meet each side's biggest concerns. So as you can see, there's quite a lot we can actually do to prepare for difficult conversations, to give us the opportunity of the most favourable outcome for everyone involved. Now you may want to again pause the video and just think about these and study these and consider if you've any difficult conversations coming up, how you might apply them, and at the very least see how you could apply it or could have applied it to a difficult conversation in the past. So let's move on and do a guided practice which help us understand our relationships to people even more deeply. So the guided practice that we're going to be doing is called Just Like Me. And the intention of this practice is to help us to build compassion and empathy for others. This can obviously help us at any time, but definitely when it comes to difficult conversations and connecting with others who we find challenging, it can certainly be a good help in getting us to be a little bit more compassionate and empathetic towards them. So as with all our guided practices, these does require your full attention. So assuming that you've got your full attention available to this course, sit upright in your chair. Your hips are 2 to 3 inches above the level of your knees. Your feet are flat on the floor. Rest your hands on your lap, but don't interlock your fingers. You can close your eyes if you wish to. Otherwise, just have a soft downward gaze toward the floor. Become aware of your breath without trying to change it at all. And as we move into the practice itself, our aim is to become aware that fellow human beings are just like me. And we're going to do this through the use of a series of statements. And you can repeat these silently to yourself if you wish to, or you can simply listen as I walk through them. So let's begin. Other people have a body and a mind just like me. Other people have feelings, thoughts, and emotions just like me. Other people have experienced sadness, disappointment, anger, hurt, and confusion just like me. Other people have experienced physical and emotional pain and suffering just like me. Other people wish to be free from pain and suffering just like me. Other people have experienced joys and happiness at times in their lives just like me. Other people wish to be healthy, loved, and engaged in fulfilling relationships just like me. Other people wish to be happy just like me. And let's share some good wishes with other people. Let's share a wish for others to have strength and resources to navigate their difficulties in life. Let's wish for others to be free from pain and suffering. And let's wish for others to be happy. And let's extend those good wishes. May our families and friends be happy, free from suffering, and at peace. May our co-workers and neighbours be happy, free from suffering, and at peace. May those I am holding difficult conversations with be happy, free from suffering, and at peace. May everyone be happy, free from suffering, and at peace. And finally, may I be happy, free from suffering, and at peace. So this brings to an end this guided practice. So become aware of your feet on the floor and the chair you're sitting in. Wiggle your fingers and take 2 or 3 deep breaths. If your eyes are closed, it's a good time now to open them and become aware of the environment you're in. So let's move on and reflect on this practice we have just done. So let's take a moment to reflect on the Just Like Me practice that we have just done. What insights did you gain during this practice? And what sense of connection might have developed from the practice? You may want to spend a few moments just considering these mentally, or you can of course journal these questions and your answers if you wish to. And this brings to an end the first part of session 6, and I look forward to joining you in the second part of this session.